This is TechCrunch.
Pop culture prevails over news and politics on TikTok. I'm Imran Sheikh, and get ready to be prevailed because it's time for your Daily Crunch for Wednesday, starting with 3 big headlines. Meta's take on a Twitter/X rival, Instagram Threads, may be inching further into its competitor's territory with the development of a communities feature that would presumably allow users to better organize their discussions on the platform by topics. At least that's what references in the app's code seem to imply. The code mentions a new feature called Loops, which was spotted on Monday by Threads early adopter and veteran technologist Chris Messina. The new strings he discovered were introduced in the latest app update and mention things like the joining and leaving of loop communities, as well as fields that refer to the community name, bio, and other elements. In addition, mentions of BCN in the code refer to Barcelona, the internal codename for Threads ahead of its launch. Text app serves as a similar reference. Reached for comment, Instagram did not confirm its plans for these loop communities or what the feature may entail. However, the company did say the feature was in early development and is not testing either internally or externally at this time. Since Threads did away with the traditional hashtag in favor of a different type of hyperlinked tag for following topics, users began tagging their posts to reach different groups using the format of topic name followed by the word threads. For example, you can follow tags like tech threads, design threads, fitness threads, sports threads, Knight Rider threads, Miami Vice threads, and so on. You get the idea. 14 U.S. attorneys general sued TikTok on Tuesday, alleging that the platform negatively impacts minors' mental health and harvests data without their consent. TikTok, a U.S. company owned by the Chinese conglomerate ByteDance, is embroiled in a number of lawsuits that could threaten its operations. In another recent lawsuit, the FTC and the Justice Department sued the platform for violating the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, by collecting data from users under the age of 13 without parents' consent. Meanwhile, TikTok's still slated to be banned in the U.S. if ByteDance doesn't sell the company before January 19, 2025. For the latest updates on this story, check out TechCrunch.com. And TikTok's growing fast as a destination for news, but news and politics accounts make up less than 1% of accounts followed by U.S. adults, the Pew Research Center says. Around half of all TikTok accounts followed by U.S. adults are influencers and creators, the study shows. Plus, content related to news and politics is considered rare, with only about 10% of the followed accounts that showed up in the study posting about these topics. When Pew ran a similar study in 2022 on the people users follow on X, it found that 1% of accounts followed belonged to political figures, while 3% belonged to media outlets and journalists. Now, these numbers are still small, but they're more significant than those from TikTok, where media pundits and outlets account for 0.4% of people followed. This doesn't mean that people aren't learning about politics on TikTok. Pew says that 43% of users in its study followed accounts that discussed politics and current events, even if dedicated political and news accounts made up a small percentage of who they follow. More so than other social media platforms, TikTok shows users a lot of content from people they don't follow, thanks to its For You algorithm. And even if celebrities and influencers aren't posting about politics, their occasional political declarations prove influential, especially in an election year. Let's now kick it over to producer Dennis with today's startup news in about 1 minute.
Thank you, Imran. And the generative AI-based fact-checking firm launched by 2 Humane.ai expats is off to the races with $4 million in seed funding. InFactory's use of generative AI while the technology is white hot no doubt piqued investor interest. So too did the promise of addressing the very real problem of online fact-checking. The new funding will go toward expanding the team and ramping up InFactory's go-to market. And middle and high schoolers are both the easiest and most difficult audience. If you're developing a neat little video game, chances are they're willing to download it right away. But if, like the team behind Revise, you're working on a learning app, good luck pitching them. And yet, the French startup has defied the odds and attracted 1 million users over the last 2 years. In June, the Revise app even reached the coveted #1 spot for free downloads in Apple's App Store. 1/3 of all 9th graders in France turned to Revise for some last-minute schoolwork before the national middle school exam. Around 2,000 content creators have shared 40,000 videos and quizzes in the app. They've attracted 150 million views in total. And that'll do it for me. Imran, back to you.
And that's your Daily Crunch. Today's stories were reported by Amanda Silberling, Sarah Perez, and more beautiful, lovely TechCrunch journalists. We'll see you here tomorrow, same tech time, same Crunch channel. And until then, find us scrolling through our For You feeds at TechCrunch.com.